Did you know Connecticut has cliffs made entirely of lava? Or that its highest point isn't actually a peak, but a slope on another state's mountain? Yeah, I was just as surprised as you are. From the outside, Connecticut seems like your standard New England postcard. Some beautiful towns, a few lighthouses, and maple trees that look like they belong in a coffee commercial. But look a little closer, and you'll find some of the strangest geography in America. Stuff you'd never expect unless you're a real nutmeg state super fan. Seriously, Connecticut isn't just the land of Gilmore Girls, hedge funds, and pizza that starts arguments in New Haven. It's got lava flows, underwater ghost towns, cacti growing wild, and a coastline longer than you'd think possible. Every corner of this state has something weird, wild, and totally unique. It's a place where glaciers, ancient rivers, and even tectonic plates collided to make a landscape you won't find anywhere else. Today, we're diving into 50 mind-blowing facts that will completely change how you see the Nutmeg State. From sunken forests to floating islands, you're about to go on a ride through Connecticut's hidden wonders. Let's get into it. And hey, if you've got a favorite music cue from YouTube Studio, drop it in the comments so we can set the perfect vibe for this wild geography adventure. Long Island Sound was once a river valley, now flooded by the sea, creating an incredible estuary ecosystem. Central Connecticut's dramatic ridges are ancient frozen rivers of Jurassic lava, forming cliffs like East Rock. Lake Wannenscapamuk's deep cold layers barely interact, creating a mysterious, unmixed underwater world. So, get this, a mile-thick glacier once gouged out the Connecticut River Valley, flattening the land and, honestly, creating what we now know as ancient Lake Hitchcock. It's kind of wild to picture just how much ice shaped everything around here. Here's something unexpected. The eastern prickly pear cactus actually grows wild in the sandy coastal soil. It always surprises visitors who come here expecting just maples and oaks, but yeah, Connecticut's got cacti too. Barn Island's marshes really do stretch for miles, hosting rare wildlife and protecting the coast from storm surges. It's amazing to think just how important these wetlands are, not just for animals, but for all of us living nearby. So, get this. Long Island Sound actually creates a kind of thermal bubble along the Connecticut shoreline. This means that towns near the water can grow figs, which is pretty wild for New England, and they get to enjoy a longer growing season than you might expect. Here's something that surprises a lot of people. Connecticut's shoreline isn't just a straight line, it's super jagged, weaving in and out, and when you add it all up, it stretches 618 miles. Believe it or not, that's actually longer than California's coastline, ounce for ounce. Candlewood Lake, which is a favorite summer spot for a lot of folks, actually sits right on top of some really old tectonic fault lines. Under all that water, there's a half-drowned rift valley, kind of like a hidden scar from ancient geologic shifts. So, here's something a little unexpected. Connecticut's highest point isn't actually a peak at all, it's a slope on Mount Frisell and, well, the actual summit is just over the border in Massachusetts. Candlewood Lake has a pretty wild story. When it was created, it actually flooded entire communities, leaving behind sunken roads, old buildings, and even a covered bridge, all still resting underwater. The Thimble Islands are honestly one of Connecticut's coolest quirks. There are dozens of these granite islets off Branford, some with huge mansions, others with just a single tree. It's kind of amazing how different each one is. Mats of peat drift like rafts, supporting trees and wildlife, making real floating forests in the Connecticut River. It's honestly just wild to imagine, trees and animals floating down the river together like that. Lake Hitchcock, once 200 miles long, covered much of the valley before draining, leaving fertile farmland behind. It's kind of amazing to think that what we see as fields now was, not so long ago, actually underwater. The Metacomet Ridge splits Connecticut, a rocky spine formed by lava and shaped by glaciers. So, yeah, this ridge really marks a line across the state, and it's all thanks to some pretty dramatic forces of nature. Some Connecticut beaches, like at Hammonasset, get their blush from crushed garnet, a sparkling local mineral. It's pretty amazing to think that the sand under your feet is colored by tiny bits of gemstone. The Quinnipiac River's tidal section actually reverses direction twice a day with the ocean's tides. Yeah, you heard that right. The river flows backwards and then forwards, every single day. Rocky Hills Dinosaur State Park preserves hundreds of Jurassic footprints pressed into the stone. Just imagine, you're literally walking where dinosaurs once roamed, millions of years ago. Torrey's Cave near New Milford stays chilly year-round, thanks to its deep glacially carved chambers. The Great Cedar Swamp is a tangled mass of old-growth cedar and sphagnum, home to rare orchids. The Housatonic River divides the Litchfield Hills, shaping borders and feeding towns with its wild bends. Devil's Den Preserve has potholes drilled by ancient whirlpools of glacial meltwater, nature's own rock art. Mohawk Mountain, named for the tribe, is also called Blue Mountain for its summer haze. The 8 Mile River loops so tightly it almost circles back on itself, creating a rare oxbow. At Silver Sands State Park, there's this really cool phenomenon. When the tide is low, a sandbar actually appears, connecting the shore to Charles Island. But then, just as quickly as it comes, it disappears underwater again. Bear Mountain, way up in Salisbury, offers something pretty special. From its summit, you can actually see Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, and Vermont all at once. It's kind of amazing, honestly. Ender's Falls tumbles right through an old stone quarry, and the result is just magical. Pools of clear water and these mossy cascades that feel like something out of a storybook. Talcott Mountain's Trap Rock cliffs blaze orange at sunset, thanks to unique minerals in the rock. Bantam Lake hides remains of drowned trees, visible when the water's clear and calm. Hoobline Tower rises atop Talcott Mountain, offering 360-degree views from its mountaintop perch. Gillette Castle perches atop a rocky bluff like something out of a fairy tale. Kent Falls lets you stroll right behind sheets of water, a rare walk-behind waterfall in New England. Faulkner Island is a protected nesting ground for endangered roseate terns. No people, just birds. The Farmington River Valley traps morning fog, making for mystical low-cloud sunrises almost every day. Steep Rock Preserve is littered with massive glacial erratics, boulders dropped by ancient ice sheets. Bantam Lake, technically man-made, blends seamlessly with the wild landscape, looking eons old. After sunset, Chapman's Salt Marsh really comes alive with a chorus of frogs and, those rare marsh birds that you almost never see during the day. There's this local legend that says Mount Tom actually attracts meteorites, and honestly, scientists have found ancient space rocks nearby, so there might be something to it. People once dug tunnels under Sleeping Giant to mine copper. Yeah, and some of those passages are still hidden even today. The Salmon River, believe it or not, vanishes into limestone caverns, flowing underground before popping up downstream. It's pretty wild to think about a whole river just slipping away beneath your feet, only to reappear later on. Sandy Point, despite what you might think, is actually a massive dune. It shifts every year, shaped by wind and tide, not by tectonic forces. It's kind of amazing how nature can build something so big, just by moving grains of sand around. Patchogue State Forest preserves these ancient boreal trees, descendants of forests that actually survived the glaciers. It's like walking through a living piece of the Ice Age, right here in Connecticut. In low water, a so-called Phantom Island rises in Gardner Lake. Legend has it, a house even slid onto it too. Old Newgate Prison sits on a copper-rich cliff, looking out over a long abandoned mining village. The Farmington River from time to time reveals amber, fossilized tree resin from ancient forests that were washed out by floods. Certain swamps attract so many fireflies and glowworm moths that, honestly, the nights just shimmer with this amazing natural green light. The Pomperaug Valley glows with red sandstone bluffs, which are pretty rare for New England, and they were left behind by ancient desert winds. Duck Island, a sandbar off Westbrook, actually shifts its location with every big storm or lunar tide. It's pretty wild to think about how something as big as an island can just move around like that. The Devil's Hop Yard in the 8 Mile River features a huge boulder that's somehow balanced impossibly right in the middle of the stream. It's one of those things you have to see to believe. At Seaside Park, the road literally disappears underwater at high tide only to reappear with the moon. It's kind of amazing, and a little bit eerie, how the tides can control where you can drive. So, next time you think you know Connecticut, remember, there's a whole world of weirdness just beneath the surface. Whether you're hiking lava cliffs, kayaking over a ghost village, or just eating figs in January, you're standing on some of the wildest geology and strangest history in the Northeast. Maybe you'll even spot a cactus, or walk behind a waterfall, on your next visit. Let us know in the comments which fact blew your mind the most. If you grew up here, did you already know about the lava ridges, the underwater roads, or the lakes that never mix? Or did something totally new take you by surprise? I want to hear about all your Connecticut adventures and discoveries. If you want more videos like this, hit subscribe, and tell us what state we should cover next. And don't forget to drop your favorite music timing suggestions from YouTube Studio. Help us set the perfect mood for our next geography deep dive. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.